Good morning, everybody. It's 7:28 right now. Welcome back to Iowa Live. Lou and Jackie here with a very special guest from Broadlawns Medical Center. And, of course, Broadlawns, there's so many different things. We want to make sure everybody's aware of all the different aspects of Broadlawns.
Absolutely, including physical therapy.
Yeah.
And we have someone who's been in the biz for quite some time and knows exactly what he's talking about. That's Matt Brevard. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Specifically, you are a physical therapist with Broadlawns Medical Center in the main campus, but you also
Correct.
travel to see patients. What do we need to know when it comes to physical therapy and the great work that's being done at Broadlawns?
Well, when we look at a patient that comes to us with any kind of need for improving their function or their mobility, we're looking at that patient really from three main perspectives.
Okay.
I want to know, does that patient have the mechanical capacity and ability to perform whatever motion they need to do? So if you come to me with shoulder pain and you're unable to reach up into the top shelf of your cupboard, then you may not have the mechanical capacity to do that movement. We've got to restore that. Once we restore mechanical capacity through your muscles, your joints, your soft tissues, then what we really need to do is we need to re-educate your system to understand how to use that piece of motion that you've had unavailable to you. And that sounds kind of like a silly thing, but our brain literally forgets how to perform motion that's not available to it. And so we have to remind it, we have to show it how to do that. We have to make sure that the muscles turn on with the right timing, with the right strength, with the right endurance to do whatever you want to do.
What do your muscles reroute the operation in order to get a task accomplished?
Yeah, our body has this amazing capacity to adjust and adapt to whatever we've got in front of us. So if you've got somebody that has, say, a shoulder injury, we'll stick with that example, and they can't move through their full range of motion, they're going to make different compensations and adaptations because your body still says, I got to get from A to B. How am I going to get that done? If I don't have this piece of mechanical capacity, I'm going to adjust and kind of route around that, and I'm going to change my movement plan and my movement habits. So we have to help them restore the ability to move through that range and make sure that they can control that range of motion. And the third piece of that is really movement habits. We have to make sure that once you have the motion, you can control the motion, then that becomes your new go-to. And we want to restore that natural, efficient habit so that once we get done with that, we've helped restore efficiency and helped a person become more the optimal version of themselves that they can be.
Does that go back to muscle memory when you're doing things like that?
Muscle memory is a kind of a way to say, movement habits, motor control plans, things like that. Yeah, muscle memory is a way that people think about that a lot of times.
Right.
And there's an experienced team of therapists at Broadlawns that's able to help in all of these capacities.
Yeah, we have quite an experienced team. We have 11. Well, we have 9 physical therapists. We have 11 on our team total, including speech and occupational therapy.
Oh, really?
But with those 11 people, we have about 150 years of experience in our department.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, your experience is quite extensive, too. Tell everybody how long you've been a physical therapist.
I've been a physical therapist 27 years, and I've been at Broadlawns for 25.
Wow.
And we've got a lot of people who have been there quite a while. We've got a lot of people who have worked very hard within that system that I've just described to you. We have 3 individuals in our department who have worked hard enough to achieve a specific certification in functional manual therapy. And that sounds wonderful, but when you look at it, there's only 7 people who have achieved that certification in the state, and we have 3 of them right at Broadlawns.
All at Broadlawns.
That's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive. Now, we mentioned the shoulder injury. Maybe you injured your shoulder that prevented you from reaching up onto the shelf, but there's other aspects of physical therapy that come into play too, where people are just trying to stay active and try to keep their mobility. And we've been talking recently about that quite a bit. How does that come into play over at Broadlawns?
Well, we can help people with any limitation that they have. I mean, it doesn't have to be just a specific injury. Maybe a person has realized that, gosh, I don't move around as much as what I used to, or I'm a little bit fearful of movement because I don't want to fall and I feel a little bit less steady on my feet. And those are things that we'll look at and we'll evaluate from the 3 perspectives that I just mentioned. And again, in maximizing what they can do in each of those areas, then we can help them to achieve what they've been missing out on.
Now, how does your physical therapy come into play? So maybe people are getting older and they're having a hard time getting up out of a chair or off of a couch. Is there something that can be done using physical therapy to improve their functionality there?
Certainly. Just because somebody's aging doesn't mean that they're automatically, that you can't equate that automatically to less function, weakness, limitation, and just think that, oh gosh, that's my lot in life now. We know from the research that even into your 80s and 90s, if you have active control over a muscle, you can strengthen it and you can change its function. You have to be focused, you have to be consistent, and you have to do something about it and not just sit and worry about it.
Put in a little bit of work there. Let's talk about, since you've been in physical therapy for well over 20 years, has anything changed, or is it still kind of the basic concepts of just getting yourself to move in the right way?
Well, I mean, the basic concepts of physical therapy, movement and control of movement and those types of things, those have existed from the beginning, because our human body is still our human body.
Right.
And so there are different areas that are researched, there are different things that we have tried to continue to study and get better at, and I think the profession has done that over time. But really the basics of how I position myself in life, what kind of support system I have through my muscles, what kind of mechanical capacity I have to move, and how I coordinate that and integrate that all together. That doesn't really change, because at the baseline, we're still a human system.
Yeah, at the core. So let's talk about, I need some assistance. I realize I'm hurting, or maybe I'm post-surgery, or something's happening where I'm needing your assistant. Do I just show up at your door, or do I need to be referred? How does that work?
We'd prefer you call and make an appointment
Oh,
first.
okay.
It's not the
Doc,
walk-in.
I hurt.
Don't do it, yeah. Sometimes
That's
we
a
can
good
accommodate
question. Do you have to have a doctor's note, so to speak, to come get it?
You technically don't have to have a doctor's note. The state of Iowa, as across the country, direct access is a law that says that you can come directly to physical therapy. There are some instances where insurance companies say, no, we want you to have a physician's order first. Medicare, for example, you have to have a physician's order before you can start physical therapy. And we always ask people to just check with your insurance company to make sure there aren't any little quirks or anything
like
that
pre-authorization or something
Correct.
like that. Right.
Yeah. But and we can help with that process.
So does insurance, and this is a big question for a lot of people, does insurance, is it pretty good about covering physical therapy in most cases?
In most cases, yes.
Cases?
I mean, plans vary individually, but yeah, in most cases, physical therapy is something that is covered and seen as valuable by insurance
And on
companies.
average, how many sessions per week does someone partake in physical therapy if they get into a program?
Yeah, that varies a lot. And what we try to do is we try to meet the patient's needs with that. So, for example, if you come to see me and your schedule is busy, your transportation is not convenient to get to see me, I'm not going to say, well, gosh, you got to come in 3 days a week to see me, if that's just not going to work in your schedule, or if it's going to make your life crazy. So we'll work with each individual as far as what makes sense based on my evaluation, what I feel your needs are, based on what you're capable of doing in the life that you've got going right now, and we'll come to an agreement on a plan of care that's going to work best for you.
All right, and it's all at Broadlawns.
Yeah, it
How
sounds
about
great.
That? How cool is
some
that?
incredible experts there available to us in our area, including Matt Brevard. I encourage you to go see him and check out the amazing things that are happening at Broadlawns, because it's a pretty incredible place.
Okay, so you have your offices at the main location at
Correct.
Broadlawns, and then you make trips over to the east side too.
I make trips to the east side occasionally, and we have a lot of other clinics that run at the east side. We have another physical therapist that's at the east side more regularly than I am. So yeah, we've got multiple options.
Broadlawns.org for more information and find out all the different aspects of Broadlawns Medical Center. This really is an amazing place. You really should take advantage of.
Yeah, go see the experts. If you're not moving like you like you used to, there's help out there. So we encourage you to take advantage of that as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's continue to talk about making a better you in 2020. We have another success story we want to share with you, courtesy of Dr. Vince Hassel. That's heading your way next here on Iowa Live.